Here we go as we are closing out the month of August. August 26th already. Where's the time going? Football season is here. College games began this past weekend. We had a game in Dublin. We had the Lobos blowing a lead and losing their first game of the season. The Miners are going to start here in 5 days in Lincoln. And we're just revving up, getting going for you here on the show today. With us, as always, not only Adrian Broaddus, who you heard a moment ago, Alberto Duetta, welcome back. I hope you had a great weekend.
It was a great weekend. Well, I feel well-rested and ready for the week.
Good. Did you return that air fryer?
Yes, I did.
Attaboy. Good. I'm proud of you. That's good. That's good. Unfortunately, bad wiring won on this run. I mean, really, if you think about it, it was new air fryer versus bad wiring in your place. And bad wiring was the winner. So it's just it's unfortunate that's what happened. But, hey, you know what? You tried. Lesson learned.
Poor air fryer never stood a chance.
Never stood a chance against your bad wiring. No, it didn't. But the good news is this. Now you can go to being naked again and cooking things in your oven, and you'll be happy and ready to go.
And I won't have
to
worry.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
And the lights will stay on.
And the lights will. Well, do you want the lights on, though, when you're not wearing any clothes? Wouldn't you rather just have the lights off and not have to worry about that? Or do you just not care?
No, that's how accidents happen.
Ooh, I understand. Good point. Good point. All right, well, listen. Congratulations. I'm happy you returned it. And best of luck next time.
Thank you.
You got it. And I promise you this. If and when you ever get married and you move into a new place, I will look at getting you an air fryer as one of your wedding gifts.
Thank you. That does mean a lot.
It should.
I'm looking forward to it.
It should. I mean, we could be talking about a long time down the road. But when that time comes, hey, it's a perfect wedding gift.
It really is.
It's timeless.
Has a backstory.
It does have a backstory.
What if he gets married like within a year or something like that? What if it's a quick turnaround, Steve?
Well, if he's not out of that place, I'm not getting him that. I will not get him a single gift that involves voltage or electricity. Nothing. I've heard enough out of him. I know what that's going to be like. Hopefully, if he's smart, the person he marries has a better place than his, and he can just go and start living with her at their place, at her place.
Maybe she'll be a realtor.
Oh my God! Well, now you're really then he's like striking the jackpot. Then he like hits the the mother load. I don't know if that's going to happen. Have you ever dated a realtor?
No, as far as I know, no.
Okay. Would you like to, just for the purpose of maybe you'll get a really nice house out of it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Cool.
We're open to all things.
Sounds great, man. You keep those options open and go from there. But again, sorry it didn't work out better for you with that air fryer. I really am.
It's okay.
Yeah, what can you do? Hey, Sebastian Perez Novato is here with us, starting his internship today. Excited about that. So we're back to a four-man booth after about 2 weeks off with Plundo now at Texas Tech. But Sebastian, excited about having him here. He's got sports broadcasting lineage. His dad is a play-by-play voice for ESPN and Fox Sports. He's been on the show with us before. Sebastian loves pro wrestling. He loves sports. He's got pipes for this business. Sebastian, welcome to officially day one of your internship with us.
Thank you, Steve. It's an honor to be here. Today has been a packed day. UTEP started classes today, so the campus was so full, and hopefully most of them make it out to the Sun Bowl for UTEP's first game coming up in September. So it's been a lot of running around, and I couldn't be happier to be here, officially starting this internship, not just as a guest on Sports Talk.
Do you like your new school? Do you like your digs?
It's definitely different for sure. Honored to be a minor. I've been running around with a camera and a tripod for the Prospector student newspaper as well. So it's been a little bit of a workout today, carrying that weight alongside of that heavy backpack. But it just takes some getting used to for sure. Something that I really like is that classes aren't repeated every single day. It makes every day just a little bit different.
Good. Well, first off, the fact that here you are, you're a new student at UTEP and you're already working for the Prospector, you're not wasting any time, are you?
Absolutely not. Time is limited. We'll see what the future has in store, but definitely trying to get the foot in the door as soon as I can. That's something that I learned from high school. Why wait when you could just do it now?
Yeah, I'm excited for you. Good for you. Listen, again, The start of a new semester, Adrian, the start of a new school year, the start of a new internship here on Sports Talk.
Yeah, our listeners have been blessed to hear some great voices over time. This is going to be a lot of fun to have Sebastian in the mix with us. We've got a lot of stuff cooking, between football Friday night, some UTEP coverage. You'll hear Sebastian. I mean, he's with us in the fall, which is the busiest time of year for us, because by the end of the semester, we're also talking basketball, which is such a great thing, too.
Chad just texted into the show and said, sounds kind of like Plundo. I don't think so. Like, to me, if you really start to dissect Sebastian, he sounds like a play-by-play broadcaster trapped inside an 18-year-old body is what it is to me. That's what Sebastian sounds like, if you ask me. So
yeah, I don't get a lot of Plundo. Plundo gives me like the fan takes, the other side of the take. Sometimes he's brutally honest and stuff like that. From Sebastian, you're going to get a play-by-play guy 24/7.
Even when he talks regular, he sounds like a play-by-play guy. I mean, that's just what it is. Like when we were interviewing Sebastian here months and months ago, and he was just talking to us, I'm like, man, he can't turn it off. It's like natural for him. Can you imagine if a camera was with Sebastian 24/7, and it's like, man, it's like he's calling the action of his life is basically how it is.
Yeah, like brushing his teeth, combing his hair.
Yes.
I would like some of that play-by-play. That would be some good stuff.
Sebastian, have you ever thought about it that your entire life is like one giant play-by-play broadcast?
Sometimes I have. When I'm bored at times or just doing homework to make it a little bit more interesting, I try to make it so that there's some sports-centric something. I remember back when I took the START test in the 3rd grade, my dad told me, it's like you're playing football. This is your Super Bowl and you are Tom Brady on that test. And he told me that for a lot of things, so I just diffused that mentality into academics and speech and debate. Probably it's ramped up my competitiveness a little bit too much, but it's made things fun and relatable for sure.
I like it. You did the exact opposite approach. Your dad took the exact opposite approach to you as I did when I had my talk with my son for the STAR test. So you gave him your dad gave you the Tom Brady approach. I gave my son the, who cares? Whatever you do, you do. Just go out and have some fun. And, nobody really cares how you score on the STAR test. So just have a good time with it, kiddo.
Yeah, just don't be too nervous on that STAR test, Joel.
Yeah.
I like it.
Nah. What are you going to do? What are they going to do? Flunk him because he didn't do well on the STAR test?
No.
So I gave him the no pressure. Like, just show up, take the test, and whatever happens, happens. I don't care.
Be comfortable, whether you're preparing for a Super Bowl or preparing for the STAR test.
That's right. That is absolutely right. Okay, so look. Wild day today. Wild day. I mean, the CeeDee Lamb. By the way, hey, ESPN, okay? The all sports network that prides itself on being the OG. It's not breaking news anymore. This is 2024. We live in the Twitter X breaking news world that when something breaks, 20 minutes later, it's old news. This CeeDee Lamb story broke about 6 hours ago. I mean, it's not exactly breaking news anymore. If you didn't see it until now, that means you probably weren't by your phone or tablet or computer or something, because most of the time nowadays, again, this is not 1997 when I started Sports Talk. This is 2024. Word travels quickly. We know. CeeDee Lamb finally ending his holdout today. 4 years, $136. He gets $100 guaranteed. He gets a $38 million signing bonus, largest ever given to a wide receiver. Look, this had to happen. This had to happen. And by the way, he's not the highest paid receiver. He's the second highest paid receiver behind Justin Jefferson. But for the Cowboy fans, now you know he will be there week 1. No more hassle, no more BS. I'm sure Jamar Chase is coming next, so that's going to happen. Who knows about Brandon Ayuk and when that crazy soap opera is going to be settled. But for Cowboy fans, they just have to be excited knowing that one of the most electric players in the league will be getting paid, which he deserves, and now he's going to be a Cowboy for the next 4 years.
For everything the fans give Jerry Jones, the one thing he has done over the recent years is drafted some big diamonds in the first round. And you could talk about CeeDee Lamb, you could talk about Micah Parsons this past year, getting Guyton on the offensive line, so let's see what kind of player he ends up being. But what you're telling me right here with this contract is you're believing and trusting that CeeDee Lamb will be top 5 at his position over the next 5 years. And I think that's a attainable for him. He's young. He's not even in the prime of his career, and he's ultra productive. Look at what he did last season. I don't care who's back there at quarterback for CeeDee Lamb in the future. And I'm hinting and alluding to what could be the future here with the Cowboys. I think if you're the Cowboys, you lock in Parsons and you lock in CeeDee Lamb, and you don't worry about Prescott
they're not.
right now.
They've already said they're done with Prescott. Their latest was Jerry said, we are not going to address Dak Prescott until after the season. So now they'll figure it out after the season, which, by the way, makes a lot of Cowboys fans happy. I know it makes the Foss happy because that means that if Dak has a stinker of a year, they didn't just offer him another 3 to 5 year extension that's going to keep him the face of the Cowboys for the foreseeable future. Now he's got to play and deliver, not just during the regular season like he's done. He has to deliver in the postseason. Otherwise, you will see a new quarterback under center next year in Arlington.
It's only about the postseason for me, for Dak Prescott, and it's about winning playoff games and probably getting your team to the NFC Championship game. On paper, that's the task that's there for the Cowboys. They didn't do a lot in the offseason. They didn't sign Dak to the long-term deal. They didn't sign McCarthy to a longer extension either. So this is the year, the prove-it year for Dak and Mike McCarthy. CeeDee Lamb, you get your money, you get paid. Whoever's a quarterback, is not going to be Trey Lance in the future, who threw 5 picks yesterday, but whoever that quarterback is in the future, CeeDee Lamb will be catching passes from him.
And by the way, I saw the Todd Archer story from 2 hours ago. Will CeeDee Lamb become the Cowboys' greatest number 88 after getting his big contract? Can we slow the roll on that, please, and realize that even if he has Hall of Fame stats, he might never win a Super Bowl. And you know what? Irvin did that 3 times. So you think about the championships that Irvin had with the Cowboys during that great run, that great era. You can't compare the two right now. That's the stupidest argument. But again, this is what we're talking about these days. Clickbait, things like this. Like, slow it down when we're talking about Michael Irvin and CeeDee Lamb. Michael Irvin was the guy, the go-to receiver on a dynasty. What CeeDee Lamb has done so far, he's had a couple of great seasons, but guess what? He hasn't won anything in the playoffs, so you can't compare the two.
Yeah, and to already make that assessment or already make that statement and maybe prognostication after just 2 seasons in the NFL, come on, man. I mean, look, he's not even Dez Bryant yet. Let CeeDee Lamb beat Dez Bryant and eclipse him as far as all-time great with the Cowboys, and then let's start talking about the Michael Irvin comparisons or some of the other greats in Cowboys history to play that position. I just think, Steve, I would say for all of those clickbait things and all the comparisons to receivers, the league is deep, and it's maybe the deepest it's ever been at the receiver position. You just do a fantasy football draft, and you realize, when you get later in rounds, you're still able to get top-notch quality receivers, and that's just the reality. This position, this is a passing-first league. They love to throw the ball all over the field.
And Michael Irvin was one of the most popular Cowboys of his age. With Emmett and Aikman, they were all popular. So you can't do that right now. You can't stop. Come on, Todd. Todd, you know better than that. You do. You know better than that. Stop with the comparisons. He's a kid. He just started. Anyway, all right. It's enough of that. UTEP has a game on Saturday in Lincoln against Nebraska. We still have no idea who the starting quarterback is going to be. No clue. And we're not going to find out till Wednesday or Thursday this week. That was the story. That's what we took away today from the first press conference of the season, the regular weekly press conferences with Scotty Walden. We'll talk about that. We'll get to everything else in store for you today. We're also going to talk about Nebraska. That's something I'm excited about. We got a special guest lined up for that as well. But first, let's go to Charlie 1 and get ourselves the traffic update. All right, 21 past the hour as we continue. It's game week for Miner fans. It'll be UTEP and the Cornhuskers this Saturday, 1:30. It's going to be airing on our partner station, 95.5 The Q. We'll be ready with Miner Talk after the post-game show. Adrian's going to have that for you here on 600. John Teicher, Cole Freitag, Mondo the Monster Medina. So again, Miners, Nebraska, and we want to learn a little bit about the Huskers. We do. So we have been able to get and joining on the program, Jimmie Allen, who is the host of After Hours on 1620 The Zone in Omaha, and he'll give us the lowdown on what to expect between UTEP and Nebraska this Saturday. First off, Jimmie, appreciate the conversation, the time. Thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Boys, good afternoon. Appreciate your time. Thanks for having me on.
More than anything, Jimmie, we're ready for football. We saw some this weekend. We had some games going on. The game in Dublin was fun. But this one especially, it's going to be so interesting for so many reasons. First ever meeting with these two teams. The idea that UTEP has a brand new coach, brand new schemes, brand new everything. And Matt Rule, we know that he's not at Nebraska to be a 500 coach and not win. He wants to turn things around quick. So tons of great storylines heading into Saturday's opener for both teams.
Yeah, and anybody that was watching Nebraska football down there in El Paso last year, don't expect to see what you did a year ago out on the field in Lincoln. I mean, with a brand new scheme essentially coming in, and Dylan Raiola, the 5-star freshman quarterback, getting his first start, and a whole new look wide receiver room. Nebraska relied heavily on the quarterback run game last year. I wouldn't expect Dylan Raiola to take a single snap to take off with it by design, especially this Saturday. They're going to try to play things close to the vest because obviously Colorado comes to Lincoln in the following week. But they've got to figure out what they have in their freshman quarterback, and they've got some new look wide receivers along with a couple of underclassmen that made big impacts last year. But it's going to look completely different. I'm expecting close to a 70-30 pass-to-run ratio for this offense, where last year it was pretty much a flip of that in every single game.
Knowing the Huskers have so many shiny new toys this year on the offensive side of the ball, I wonder, though, freshman quarterback, his dad's a coach. I get that. He's a top prospect in the country. I understand that. But you also wonder, will he be able to just get going from the jump, or will there be some butterflies? He'll have to settle in and maybe a couple possessions that he gets comfortable and really starts to get into a groove.
Well, I mean, I think Matt Rule might even like it better if Dylan has some struggles out of the gate, if I'm being completely honest about it. Because I think if he comes out and kind of lights the world on fire, it's really probably only downhill from there. And if he does have some shortcomings, they've just only named it Dylan the starter on Friday. So if he's able to have a little bit of struggle out of the gate and Nebraska still wins comfortably, I think that would be really, really good in the head coach's mind. Obviously, you don't want him to struggle too much in that game to be too close for a game where Nebraska's almost a 4-touchdown favorite. But having a come-down-to-earth moment for the true freshman may not necessarily be a bad thing. But with Dylan Raiola, he's not really that kid you have to worry about. I mean, Matt Rule was talking today at his press conference and mentioned that Dylan's texting him, "Hey, Coach, can I be late to curfew?" and sending him pictures of him still being in the coach's office working on film and breaking things down. So this isn't your typical freshman. Like you said, his dad, obviously, former NFL football player. His godfather is Matthew Stafford. His uncle is the offensive line coach. They understand that, it's very much a business trip for a kid who was originally from Scottsdale, obviously played his senior year at Buford in Georgia, but has been around the pro football model for a long time and understands what it means to be a professional.
Jimmie, Adrian back here, switching it to the defensive side. That's where we have an El Paso connection. Tony White, who is a graduate from Burgess High School, and also was rumored to be in the discussion for maybe interest in that UTEP opening before they hired Scotty Walden and named him the head coach. For Tony White, he's built this defense, and they get veteran experience back for Nebraska. Tell me a little bit about this defense and what makes Tony White so special as Nebraska's defensive coordinator.
Yeah, there was a lot of people around here that had to have some heart doctors take a look at him after Tony White's name came up at a couple places. Obviously, in El Paso with his connection in his hometown, and then San Diego State, his alma mater, both of those jobs opening up this year. A lot of people thought he may be not long for Lincoln, but chose to come back. You guys mentioned the new shiny tools on offense. There's some new fresh faces that are going to make an impact on defense on Saturday, too. Vincent Shavers is a true freshman. That's going to see a ton of playing time this year. Willis McGahee, the fourth son of Willis McGahee, the famous running back from Miami, and obviously his time in the NFL. But we have a ton of experience coming back on the front three, specifically. Nebraska runs that 3-3-5 defense, which you guys down there will see a lot in El Paso this year, too. A couple names to remember: Nash Hutmacher, number 0, and Ty Robinson, number 9, both ginormous bodies on that defensive line to take up a lot of space. Ty Robinson, a sixth-year senior, Nash Hutmacher, a senior this year as well. Those guys are going to be impact players all year long, and they're going to be probably in a lot of backfield all season, and it's probably going to be a little bit of a long day for the Miners' offensive line, too.
I was going to say, yeah, that's exactly the case. It is going to be a bit of a challenge trying to block a 6'6", 310-pounder on the end, and then you've got right in the middle 6'4", 310, and on the other side 6'5", 260 with Jamari Butler, the junior. So you've got the size. Yes, go ahead.
That's not even mentioned Cam Lenhart and Princeville Unmanueli, who are both freshman All-American a year ago that returned this year as well, that are backing up those guys at all three positions.
I think the biggest question, though, is this, Jimmy, and that is, Nebraska's defense. They're going to see a tempo offense that maybe they haven't seen as often as you would think, especially in conference play. I don't know how many schools that they're going to be going up against this year like to get up and down the line and basically run a play every 10 to 12 seconds. That's going to be UTEP's goal on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm interested to see, especially if they can get up so quickly that the defense really doesn't have a chance to set, how the Miners try offensively to at least wear or slow down that Nebraska D a little bit.
Yeah, that's something that Coach Rule talked about today, and he's got a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Walden, and obviously what he was able to do at Austin Peay, and then seeing the success that offense and what we're going to see on Saturday specifically had against Tennessee a year ago at Austin Peay. They talked about it a ton, about how versatile it is and how many different looks they have. And if you're a Nebraska fan, something that was a bit of a head-scratcher for you today, he said a lot of our defensive plays have been whistled early because of mistakes that are being made, because of the confusion that the offense is and the success that the scout team offense is having by doing that. So Miner fans, if you're looking for some early hopes and expectations, they may come on the offensive side of the ball surprisingly early in this one, because it sounds like Nebraska's defense is having trouble kind of taking what the mock offense is giving to the first look team.
Jimmie Allen joining us again. He's the host of After Hours on 620 The Zone. We're talking about the Huskers and really what to expect as far as the Miners go. Now, you said it best at the start of this interview, 70-30 pass to run, so we're expecting a lot of passing, actually. Is Nebraska's offense going to have that same up-tempo, get-to-the-huddle quick type of offense, or are they going to be a little more conventional where they're going to throw a lot, but they're not necessarily looking to just get right up to the line of scrimmage and run a play before the defense can set?
I think in a perfect world, they would like to have that up-tempo feel to it, but, I mean, as you guys are going to see this season, that's going to matter what happens on first down. And with a true freshman quarterback getting the wind underneath his wings and a running back game that the depth chart came out today, the first depth chart got released by Matt Rule and his staff, there was a running back listed and 3 guys with the word "or" next to their name. So they really haven't figured out what that running back rotation is going to look like yet. And that's a lot of the reason when we talk about that 70-30 split pass to run. That's got a lot to do with it. They don't have a proven running back in that room, despite having 6 guys that have all played more than 1 year of college football in that room. So they've got a lot of question marks in this run game. And you're going to probably see a couple of quick hitters. The one thing that Dylan Raiola has been able to do well is flip the play to the opposite side of the field if he sees something. Matt Rule talked about it today. He has full command of this offense. He has the ability to check in and out of plays. He said, we're going to treat him like he's a junior getting ready for the NFL, because that's the level that he's playing at. So, I mean, if Nebraska is winning on first down, I think they're going to go up tempo, and I think they would like to, but it's going to be very derivative of what they get on that first opportunity.
Jimmie, when it comes to depth chart, you just mentioned that Nebraska and Matt Rule released one today. Scotty Walden is not going to release one here for UTEP, and the big question mark is who's going to be the starting quarterback. How does Nebraska view this right here, this storyline? Are they preparing for the 2 quarterbacks? Are they kind of figuring 2 players will play? Like, what's the Nebraska's point of view on this?
Yeah, Matt Rule talked about that today as well and said, hey, we're preparing for both, and it's kind of hard when you're kind of preparing for a quarterback based on what they did, at a different place or under a different coaching staff. There's a lot of different things to prepare for, and Matt Rule is one of those guys that you're never going to hear him say anything negative about anybody. He was very bullish about what he's expecting out of the Miners offense this Saturday, and he knows that he's returning a top 10 defense from a year ago, but he and both Tony White have been very vocal about the fact that, listen, this defense this year hasn't done anything, and they haven't played a snap yet. Both Tony White and the linebackers coach, Rob Dvorak, have talked about this team wanting to be a top 5 defense in the country and being hungry and motivated to do that. And, the only way to do that is starting off game one on a high note. So that defense, they come out with a lot to prove, especially with the struggles that they've had in practice this week.
All right, so when it's all said and done, Jimmy, I mean, we're trying to figure out what to expect. I think I've seen 27.5 is what some of the odds makers have said. Again, for us at UTEP, considering we haven't seen this team other than the spring game, practices are closed. We really don't have a feel yet for how this offense and defense will work. Crazy enough, our first look will be your first look. I mean, that's just how it's been since, Scotty Walden and the coaching staff have arrived.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are high on Scotty Walden for a reason. He's had a lot of success at everywhere that he's been. If he's keeping things close, I think that's a good sign if you're a Miners fan. He's got to feel pretty good about it and trying to keep everything that's a plus as a plus to them and not a bonus to anybody else. Obviously, you're not going to have too many reporters from around here beating down doors in El Paso, but just keeping it as close as possible to not give any outside information. We kind of like that approach. Nebraska had something very similar happen last week. There was an open practice to help out the NIL collective, and essentially a fight broke out between 2 offensive linemen, and Matt Rule pulled the entire team aside and said, this is why we've had the failures we've had. Nebraska hasn't been to a bowl game in 8 seasons, and a lot of that Matt Rule feels is because when the lights go on, there's people around. Guys are worried about who they have to impress in the stands and not kind of doing what they're coached to do. So there's a lot of that going on around here. He closed practice to everybody, the media and family included, last week, and kind of left it shut doors, try to keep everything in-house and solve some of those internal problems. So we've seen quite a bit around here, but there's been some stuff closed off to the Nebraska media and fan base that we're going to see really for the first time. I talked openly about a couple of the freshmen that they're really excited about. I mean, for that part, they've really kept those guys that are youngsters under wraps. They've done a series similar to Hard Knocks called Chasing Free this offseason, and Dylan Raiola has been basically hidden in all of it. He really has only gotten about 5 minutes of airtime. So we're kind of in the same boat with you guys. There's a lot we haven't seen yet that we're expecting to for the first time on Saturday.
First home opener for you since 2019. How many people are we expecting at Memorial Stadium for the game on Saturday?
A lot. It'll be the 398th sellout, with the 400th consecutive sellout coming up at the end of this season, in the middle of the season against Illinois. So it'll be another jam-packed year for Nebraska football. I mean, you'll probably see between 89 and 93,000 on Saturday. Everybody's very excited about the prospects of this team, this young quarterback, and obviously year 2 under Matt Rule, where things usually get fun.
Well, I'm excited for it, and that's another thing we talked about earlier in the meeting today with Scotty Walden. I know he knows the crowd noise from Tennessee, but if you're talking about a sellout crowd, they're going to try to make as much noise as possible when UTEP has the ball. Now, I guess the good news for the Miners and for everybody in college football is you got the helmet system now where you can actually relay plays right into the quarterback through the helmet mic and the helmet speaker, which is great, but you still have to get up to the line of scrimmage, call the play, hope your offense doesn't jump off sides. So that's going to be an interesting storyline to see, obviously, on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, that might be the one benefit for Nebraska's freshman quarterback this year. I mean, we've seen it all across high school football, and they had it at Buford, so Dylan Raiola is used to it. The one thing that I think a lot of people took away from Saturday's game between Georgia Tech and Florida State was obviously a neutral site and some pretty partisan crowds on both sides when both offenses were out there. There were some struggles, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, Dylan Raiola is going to have the green dot on his helmet, and obviously as the quarterback. But on the defense, it sounds like that green dot's going to move around quite a bit and have the ear of a bunch of different guys. So that'll be interesting to see how Nebraska handles that. And also, for the first time this year, Nebraska's sideline is moving from the west side of the stadium to the east side of the stadium for the first time since the early 90s, and Nebraska will have a better view of their press box. And that should help with communication. I think the communication to the helmet has a lot to do with that as well.
Terrific. Jimmy, enjoyed the conversation. Thanks so much for the time, and looking forward to what should be a fun one on Saturday.
Fellas, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the fact that college football is back. It should be a fun Saturday.
No doubt about it. He's Jimmie Allen, folks, and he is the host of After Hours on 1620 The Zone out in Omaha. You can follow him on Twitter and X at Jimmie Allen 1620. That's at Jimmie IE Allen 1620. 36 past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk. Let's do a Sports Center update. We'll take you right into the break and come back with more in a moment. It's 600 ESPN El Paso. 45 now past the hour. Want to thank again Jimmie Allen for joining us on our Longhorn Distributing Hotline, where all of our guests always appear. The McLaren Formula One detail products are available now at Longhorn Distributing, 5516 East Paisano, 2 blocks south of I-10. So if you love McLaren, well, listen, how about purchasing detail products from the McLaren Formula One brand? That is even better. So that's all available right now at Longhorn Distributing. You can park in the back and head on down to 5516 East Paisano. All right. So we continue here on Sports Talk. Looking at some of the calls coming in. 505-6009, our telephone number. That's 505-6009. Let me say hello to Orly, who joins us. That's that time of year. Time to hear more from Orly because it's football season. What's going on, Orlando?
We're going to start talking the real football, American football, not kickball.
Oh,
anyway,
my God. Why do you do that? Why do you immediately try to
get
take
all the
shots at
people
all
around.
soccer fans? Why?
Because I love to rile them up.
You do.
Yeah, it helps to talk, so I get people calling in.
What do you do? What do you like to do more? Rile up soccer fans by calling them kickball fans or going after Cowboys fans?
They're both the same, both non-relevant. And I don't understand all excitement of these Cowboys. We hear it every 35 years. Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to do this. No, you're not relevant, Cowboys, and you won't be relevant for a while as long as Jerry Jones. You've got the same thing with the Raider fans. They've got their Jerry Jones up in the West.
Well, wait a minute now. Al Davis died years ago.
They still the Suns running it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't. So you're telling me that just because it's in the Davis family name, they're never going to win?
Yep.
So you believe the same thing for the Cowboys?
Clean break.
So when Jerry dies and Steven takes it over, you're saying that the Cowboys are still going to be terrible?
They're going to be terrible. They're not going to be anywhere near the real teams. You know, we're talking about signings. My more concern is signing Trent Williams than Ayuk right now. Trent Williams, after watching the preseason, definitely need to get Trent Williams back in the fold in San Francisco, which I think it will happen. He's owed 3 years, $75 million. He's still under contract.
Yeah.
I think he'll come back. I think they need him more than Ayuk right now. I tell you, Jacob Cowing looks great.
He does.
He really looks good.
And by the way, they've needed Jacob because Pearsall's been MIA. There's no Ayuk. They've had issues right now at receiver.
Oh, no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. They got rid of Bria today. I mean, he was an old timer from the 49ers. He signed for 1 year. There's some movement going on. I think the 49ers. Of course, you and I will have a difference of opinion that Monday night. I'm just glad it's in San Francisco, not in New York. But, see what happens, what comes out on that game. I think Rodgers is going to make a difference for the Jets if he stays healthy. You got a great coach.
I don't know about that. I'm not in love with Robert Saleh. I
think he's a great defense. He was great at San Francisco. You got to realize, look what he's working with.
Yeah, but it's
He's
not
got
just
an organization.
Yeah, but it's not just that. Sometimes coordinators are better coordinators than they are head coaches.
Well, that's true. Hey, by the way, there was a kid. I watched that game, Montana State in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
The kid that ran the 93-yarder, the announcer said he was from El Paso.
Jaden Wilson from Austin High School. Jaden Wilson.
No, that's the guy from the Lobos. The guy that ran the 93-yard run against the Lobos from Montana State. They said he was from El Paso, Texas. I couldn't find him. Some guy Jones, Adam Jones or something like that.
That I'm not sure. Maybe they got him mixed up. Maybe they went to the wrong team.
Maybe they did because I say, Lobo fans, you only could draw less than 15,000 on your opener. I didn't realize that Montana State as a Division II school, that is the first Division II school as a favorite since 1978 against a Division I. They were 13-point favorites over New Mexico.
That I did not know. So
I didn't know. That's some of the stuff I guess they were just talking. I was listening to the broadcast, and they were talking about that.
yeah, that's again, these are storylines, and I didn't watch that game. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I know you got to be a super
I flip
fan.
back and forth. I just flip back and forth.
Adam Jones, by the way, is from Missoula, Montana.
So they messed up.
They messed up. That is not the kid. As Adrian said, New Mexico's got a player from Austin High. They probably confused the two.
But he's the one that recovered the fumble and scored the touchdown.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
If I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to football season. Looking forward to see the new era at UTEP.
By the way, what are your expectations for Scotty Walden this year? What do you want to see?
If he gets a 4-win season, I'll be happy. His first 4 or 5 games are brutal.
Yep.
He's got a brutal schedule. I mean, you look at it with Nebraska, then he's got, Southern Utah, and then he's got to go on the road to Liberty. It's not going to be easy.
No.
Then you got to come back, and then you got to pay Liberty. Then it's Colorado State. So
That's
he's got
right.
a brutal schedule.
Yeah.
I think if you see the schedule next year, it's going to be a lot easier.
Well, then the following year, they play another 7 games on the road.
It's brutal. It's brutal next fall. It's Oklahoma and Michigan back-to-back.
Yeah, I know. That's 2026. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, next year I think it's Utah State, UT Martin out of Tennessee, the Longhorns, and then they finally make up that game with Louisiana Monroe.
Yep, that's right.
And I was looking down the schedule in 2032. They've got Texas Tech coming here.
Oh, I wonder if you think you'll still be around in 2032 to watch that game?
God, I hope so.
So it's a terrible thing to say. Hey, it's only 8 years from now, Orly. You should be rolling by then. You should be ready to go to that game.
I'll be at almost the legal limit at 74.
Nah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
And you know what? I'll be with my walkers, but hey, I'll still be there. You gotta follow your local team.
Hey, by the way, will you root for Texas Tech, your alma mater, or UTEP when they play each other in football?
I always go with the home team. I just started at Tech. I didn't finish there.
Oh, no way. You said you always go for the home team. Does that mean that when UTEP plays at Tech, you root for Tech?
No, I think that I would be more for UTEP to knock off Texas Tech.
Okay.
It would be better for the program.
Yeah, it would be.
Because that would mean you would finally beat a Power 5 school. You know, the way things are shaping up with this reshuffling and everything of all these conferences, that means there's only going to be about 3 or 4 conferences of maybe 20 teams each. I think the mid-majors need to split out from the big boys and create their own NCAA and have their own championship. You can't compete against the Alabama with all this money going around. I think that's going to come, and I think some of these schools like Vanderbilt, Northwestern, are all going to come back to the fold of the mid-majors down there because they cannot compete with these schools. Those schools are not going to want them in their conference. You're going to have teams like Kansas State, maybe Texas Tech, may not last in the Big 12 if it survives. I think there's going to be a major shakeup coming, and I think it's coming before we know it.
No, I agree with that. I do. But it'll be before 2032 in that UTEP Texas Tech game, that's for sure.
It may be a conference game by then.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Orly,
right,
great job, man. Love you. Always good to hear your voice. Thanks for the call.
Go Niners.
There you go. All right. I apologize, folks, for taking a low blow at Orly. It wasn't really, that was completely uncalled for, but I just, he took shots at soccer fans to start the call and then went after the Cowboys fans, and I just.
And Jets fans.
And Jets fans, too. Yeah, he basically ripped everybody he could. So, got to have a little fun with Orly.
You might die by the time that 2032 game. I was dying there.
I didn't say that. I said, hey, you think you'll still be around? That was it. I mean, I wasn't necessarily implying he'd be dead. I was just kind of implying that would he be around to go to the games? Or would, like you said, would he be in a walker by then and maybe rolling himself up to the game? Who knows?
74 by 2032? Orly's younger than I thought.
How old do you think Orly was?
No, I just thought he was old. I've never met him in person, but I thought he was older. No.
Oh, so you thought Orly was probably in his 70s now?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
No. I was just having fun with Orly, though.
So when you said that, I was like, oh, man.
All right, one down. We got two to go. Hey, Jason Craig is in the house. We'll catch up with Jason in a moment. Stay with us. Sports Talk continues. 600 ESPN El Paso. Start of hour number 2 from the 600 ESPN El Paso River Oaks Properties Schoolyard Sports Studios. Welcome back, everybody. You just heard Alberto Dueta handle Sports Center. We got Adrian Broadus. We've got Sebastian Perez Novato here with us as well. And an old friend of ours back right now, Jason Craig, who could be the busiest person I know. He's got so much going on, including the UTEP athletic season, which will be – actually, it started already. We had the volleyball matchup this past weekend, and soccer, and football kicks off in Lincoln, and we got the first home game a week from Saturday. Great to see you. First off, welcome back, and always enjoy when you can drop by the radio station.
Man, it's been a long. You can see I had some changes in here, Steve.
We have had changes. You haven't been here in a while.
No, I have not. I like this banner that's behind you. That's nice. The posters behind us. This is nice. I like it in here.
I'm actually replacing the posters in real time as they come up with new ones. We got the old ones right there. Some of those, the minor football is a new one. The minor volleyball is a new one. The minor soccer is a new one. So as we get more and more of those posters, we'll continue to put them up on the wall.
Nice.
Yeah. And I said you've been busy. You have been busy, haven't you?
Oh, man. Everything has just kind of like in this off season, things kind of just came my way. I was ready for football, of course, that's coming up. And, with Coach Scotty Walden, like just everything is literally from the ground up. It's like everything we used to do, stop doing that, and let's do a whole new thing right now.
All right, so let's talk about that for a second. The new team has a ton of personnel, a lot of behind-the-scenes folks. Are you in touch with them on what they want, or are you just working with the athletic department right now in really Coach Walden getting ready for the first home opener?
It's a mixture of both. So we have, the athletic department is telling me, hey, we got to have these meetings and stuff, and then someone from Coach Walden's camp will be there with us, putting their input in what we need, and then we tell them, hey, we're going to need this, and this, so that we can make that happen. Like for me specifically, music, right?
Yes.
So, hey, what do the players want to hear? What do the players want for third down? What do they want? Just all of that. So that's been a different experience because before it was just me trying to figure it out, and then they would tell me like the day of.
So now they're trying to essentially give it to you, give you the information beforehand so you've got everything prepared.
Yes, absolutely. And then that will create more of like traditional things that will just continue to happen moving forward.
How elaborate will the production be from the audio-visual side when fans go and enter the Sun Bowl for the first time of the Walden era coming up a week from Saturday?
I'll tell you from the entrance through the mine shaft, which they're bringing back, which is so awesome. I've always thought they should always do that. But I like the tunnel too, coming through the tunnel. But the mine shaft that's where we should come out of. We're creating this from the ground up.
Okay.
I've sent them something I produced, just like kind of bare bones, so they can the band can get the energy and understand what we should be trying to do to get the crowd to engage. So the bands are going to add to what I sent them.
Yes.
And then there's also like a chant that minor fans will be able to repeat constantly every game, and that will be our own thing. You've seen, I don't know what school that is, that does like the Metallica thing, and that whole place is just jumping.
Yes.
We're going to have something similar to that, but more minor
themed.
Yeah, minor themed. People talk about UTEP minors, and they just kind of just say the words, but they're not really understanding, like, what are minors, Like, those are hardworking people. Those are people that are always trucking. And, we have the locomotives, right? On a train track, like, minors use the train track as well. So why do we not implement that type of feel in this amped-up version of what we're getting ready to do?
Could we see Jason Craig with a hard hat in one game?
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool.
I never thought a hard hat with a light on it.
That would be neat. I like that. I don't know about the light because that could be distracting. You know,
Well,
they try to keep the lights
Or a
turned
strobe light, maybe, instead of a headlight.
What are you turning into, a disco DJ? What do you got going on with this?
Yes, I think we've got.
And by the way, where is your DJ area going to be for football games?
What I'm hearing is that I'm going to be in the right there on the party patio.
The party patio.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in the party zone.
Yes.
That'd be a good place for you.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm sure you do. But I mean, but at the same time, like, how's it going to work? Will you essentially be playing music during the timeouts? Is that the idea? Halftime, pregame. What are you doing?
Halftime for sure. If after they finish whatever they're doing during halftime, I'll fill in for those. During timeouts, I'll fill in after or in between, the segments, whatever giveaways and stuff like that. Pregame and third downs. It's just whenever I have the headset on, so whenever they say, "Hey, Jason, fill in," that's what I'll be pretty much doing. But before the game, it's pretty much me for the most part.
You know what would be amazing? I don't know if they'll ever do this. There's only 5 chances to do this. But you know what would be the coolest thing after the very last game of the season? Well, the Miners, who's the last UTEP game against? Let me see this for a second.
Home game?
Yeah, home game.
Middle Tennessee.
Okay. Last game against Middle Tennessee.
Kennesaw State, sorry.
No, Kennesaw State, right. That's senior day. That's going to be on November 9th. You know what they should do at the end of that game?
Surprise me.
Have a dance party on the field at the Sun Bowl.
Oh, that would be
and they
so
should
cool.
just tell everybody to stick around, and after the senior presentation is over, you come out and you DJ the largest dance party in El Paso on the Sun Bowl turf, and just you play and it's like you're in a club, you're in the Sun Bowl as your dance club, and you just play all the songs, and everybody goes crazy and just goes dancing on the field. You don't need the turf anymore. Season's over. So now turn the turf into a giant dance party and let all the fans go crazy after the last game.
That'd be really, really cool. I would love to do that. That'd be awesome. I'm pretty sure we can make that happen.
I would think so too.
Yeah, that seems pretty easy. And
that is pretty easy. And then think about it, how cool it would be for fans, because assuming the Miners are able to come out on top of that one, you would think it's Kennesaw State. Then they got a chance to do like a chance to get on the field after the game is over and everybody's cleared out, and you transform the Sun Bowl into the largest open air dance club in El Paso.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be pretty cool. That was a good idea, Steve. You came up with that by yourself?
Just now. Just now.
That's why you're the man.
On the fly. Well, because I was thinking of the music aspect of it and how it works with you and what you do, since you're already going to be in the party zone anyway. And I'm like, well, why not just make it the largest party in El Paso? And since there's no more games after that day in the Sun Bowl, other than obviously the Sun Bowl game 2 months later, give the fans a chance to get out there on the field and have some fun.
Yeah, it's a family event. Everybody can get on the field. The kids get out there. The old people get out there. I'm pretty good at just, Steve, I did that birthday party for you.
I've seen you in action. I know. I'm ready to hire you again next June. So I know what you're all about, but I think that for Miner fans, they would love. What do you think about, Adrian, having Jason Craig after a UTEP game, preferably the last home game of the season, doing like a UTEP dance party?
Okay, so ringing endorsement, but not because he's our friend. You could be at like business functions, serious functions, doesn't really matter. But if Jason Craig is at the event, he sets the vibe. Like he's going to set the tone. So he's going to already know the type of people who are going to be in the stands, who are going to be cheering that day. He'll know the song selection that's needed for that dance party that you want to do on the field. So I think this is totally possible, and it's because Jace is a great DJ.
I agree.
And then, I've been doing volleyball lately too, and that's been helping a lot. And we did that first game on Saturday, and Coach came up, and Coach Wallace he said, "This is called Club Memorial." He just whispered that in my ear, and I was like, say no more. I understand. I got this.
And that was that.
That was it.
Yeah.
And so now, you guys, you got to go to those volleyball games. I'm telling you right
now. Club Memorial.
Club Memorial. You got to go to Club Memorial for the volleyball games. It's something else.
Well, I also think if you made Club Sun Bowl, we could have a good time. Really good time.
Sun Bowl Fest.
There you go. I mean, think about this. That game, that was that game kickoff on the 9th, probably about 2 o'clock. Let me see here. 2 o'clock. So that'll be over by 5. and then let's say the game ends at 5, by 5:30 till 7 or 7:30, we've got a nice, like, because it gets dark early, so the lights will come on, and then you can have a little dance party where you're blasting music left and right, and you got people on the Sun Bowl turf dancing and getting to town. That'd be awesome.
Sponsors, get ready. This is going to be a good one.
I was going to say, brought to you by
It's gonna be brought
our
to you
good
by,
friend Speaking Rock.
You know it's going to be brought to you by somebody, for sure. I mean, UTEPs, if they're listening to this idea, they're like, huh, we never thought about that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Dancing for chicken, little Raisin Canes.
Hey.
Could be that one, too. You never know. Adrian's already throwing sponsors out
I'm giving
there.
our friends some love.
I know. I see
Well, they
it.
also work with UTEP, so that's good, too.
Yeah,
So,
they do.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Let me go to the phones. Chuco's on the line. He's got a question for Jason right now. 13 past the hour. 505-6009. Go ahead, Chuco.
Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi.
DJ Craig, I was there on Saturday for the volleyball game. And you know what, man? Volleyball and your DJ skills really go hand in hand. So my question was, are you going to be doing all the other games?
Yes. So they have picked me up for the entire season, so I'll be doing all the volleyball games at Club Memorial, which I'm very excited about. Like, that's going to be so much fun.
By the way, Chuco, tell me about what it's like. Give me explain to me what the experience is like with Jason at these volleyball matches.
Well, you know, the volleyball games are exciting as it is, but then once you add music to it, it kind of like just gives you it just amplifies the arena. And all the music that Jason was playing, it was just a mix. You know, I think there was some Selena, there was just a mix of what he always does, but in that kind of an arena, it just makes it that much more fun. And the girls, the women's teams were dancing. I know Coach Wallace, I think, did a dance-off last season. So it's the perfect environment to do that.
Yeah, and what I noticed is just that, you know, as they're playing and they have walk-up songs, so now we're going to get those together. So every time they serve, each player is going to have their own serve song.
Right.
Once we get that, they're going to get amped up. That can really change the whole atmosphere of the game.
I'm sure.
And let me ask you one other question. So last year in the postseason, they added some speakers to Memorial Gym that really made the arena sound awesome. And they've gone back to just those little horn tweeters, you know, that are good for voice but don't really lend themselves for music. Do you know anything about, will they invest in a better speaker system?
I know they do have some portable speaker stuff that we might I'm going to bring that up as well, because I did notice that. There was no, like, bottom, no fill. And we did a kickoff event last week, and we had those subs. So if we just add those subs to the club, then I think that would fill up everything else that you're talking about. You know, you just don't feel it. You hear it, but you don't feel it.
Yeah, it'll definitely amp the experience. Hey, can my daughter say something real quick?
Sure, Joe. Go ahead, Chuco.
Hi, DJ Jason Craig. The music on, was it Saturday? But, like, I was dancing. Like, I was getting all hyped because the music was so high.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much. That means a lot. That really does mean a lot. That means I'm doing my job.
Yes, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, listen, Chuco, I appreciate it. What's your daughter's name?
Alessandra.
Well, Alessandra, we appreciate you weighing in as well. Thank you. And always love when our listeners can spread the love for people like Jason. That's great stuff. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
All right. So that's Chuco and his daughter, Alessandra, getting us ready at 16 past the hour. Jason Craig settling in nicely, by the way. We got people getting questions in on Twitter and X, on the phones, and we'll keep things moving right after Charlie One, who has this traffic update.
Steve, on the west side, we have a crash working, and PD's out there. You're not PD controlled north.
Update here at the bottom of the hour. 505-6009, that is our telephone number. 505-6009 as we continue. Larry from Horizon City weighs in. I see UTEP Twitter accounts trying to start beef with Nebraska fans. Just silly. Let's try and not put much stock into this game, please? From Larry and Horizon.
Yeah, UTEP Twitter has been on one lately. I see UTEP news, snappy trade, sideline UTEP, Joe John, UTEP Mineto. I see you all. Jacob Cooksey, I don't see you. I muted you, unfortunately. But I see all the UTEP Twitter mafia out there, Steve. And not only are they trying to get into it with Dylan Raiola commenting on his weight or lack thereof of a weight problem.
Oh, no. You
think there's a weight problem.
They're saying, no, when you say lack thereof, I think they were getting more upset that he doesn't have washboard abs.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So they're going after the Cornhusker fans, but UTEP Twitter's also hates, and I mean absolutely hates, Sam Houston fans for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah. And Sam Houston fans are going right at UTEP.
That's some beef.
We've got these crazy new rivalries that we never thought would ever happen.
I like when beef starts on the internet and then you got to see each other in person.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what's really going on. I love that.
Yeah.
Start it on the internet, but if you see each other in person, let's see if you can back it up. I love that.
But we have all these anonymous Twitter accounts. That's the only problem. Everybody hides behind burners. The only one who throws their face and his face of his family is Joe John from UTEP Mineto. He throws on his mom and throws on himself. So,
he doesn't care. And by the way, if you start up with Joe John's mom, you are done. That is it. Those are fighting words, man. Let me say this. I met Joe John and I met his mom. And I've met Joe John before, but I took a picture with his mom. Sweetest lady ever. Super UTEP fan. But if you want to make sure you have an enemy for life, start up with that guy's mom and you're done. As simple as that. So that is it. I've seen some of the craziest Twitter wars ever over that. I'm like, what are you doing? Leave his poor mom alone. She's nice. She goes to the games. All she wants to do is take pictures with people. You've probably taken a photo with Joe John's mom and not even realized it.
Yeah, most likely. And you know what one thing I like
he does not hide from his Twitter account. That is for sure. He puts himself and his mom in every tweet.
That's why I like the internet, it just amps, the story of, hey, when we meet, it is on. It is
yeah.
on. I love that. That's what I need before the game. I need that type of energy going into a game. I need it hyped up.
You gonna go eat some Spam Musubi before all those UTEP games?
I've been on the lack of Spam Musubi. I need the Spam and eggs. Spam and eggs is where we're at right now. Spam rice and eggs.
Spam rice and eggs.
Yeah, that's right.
By the way, Alberto's shaking his head like he can relate. You eat that too? Spam, rice, and eggs?
Yes, I do. And my friend who lives in Japan eats a lot of Spam, rice, and eggs.
I told you, Steve. I told you. It's a delicacy around the world.
Do you like Spam Musubi?
What is that?
You don't even know what that is?
No, I know what Spam is.
So it's when you take the Spam, you put in first off, I think they grill it or something like that. Put a little teriyaki sauce in there with a piece of rice. So it's like you're eating sushi, but it's Spam Musubi. So they've got the rice paper around it and the seaweed around it. And then you got the Spam and the teriyaki sauce.
Yeah, I could definitely go for that.
It's like a sandwich, but it's really tiny. Small. Yeah. Spam size. It's amazing.
Love it.
Don't insult the sandwich. Don't call it a sandwich. Don't do that. Please. You stop with the sandwich.
It's a Spam rice and seaweed sandwich.
That's exactly what it is. A Spam rice and seaweed sandwich. So
delicacy.
But let me say this. I've eaten it. It was fine. Was it a life changer for me? No. But it wasn't like I spit it out. I'll try anything. And I tried that Spam Musubi, and it was all right.
Yeah, it's not bad. I love it. And Spam rice and eggs. It's very simple,
If you went to a factory, the Spam factory, and you actually watched the process of how that stuff is made and packaged, do you think you would continue to eat it the way you do now?
I have seen a lot of things, Steve. I've seen a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
And I've been to Afghanistan, so nothing surprises me.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That being said, would you eat it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you've seen enough things in life where that's not gonna matter for you.
I've eaten worse. I was in Kuwait. I don't know if I can.
No, you don't have to say it. But you've seen worse.
I've eaten worse.
Well, that too.
And it was good. I was sick for days though. I was sick for days, but it was really, really good.
Adrian, you're being called out on Twitter by El Paso Visuals Deportivos. That is the alias for Ivan, our pal, who has a couple of accounts on Twitter and X. He says, false, Adrian. There are others that don't hide behind an anonymous burner page when beefing. Those that do and start beef are cowards. Cowards, says El Paso Visuals Deportivos, otherwise known as Ivan Pierre Aguirre.
Yeah, I used to think the same thing. I used to think, hey, if you have a burner, you're But now X or Twitter or whatever, it's the wild, wild west, right?
It is.
When you're on the For You page, you see literally everything from everything rated M to R to X to whatever you want to say. It's also rated PG and G. So, you see a huge range of things on Twitter and X.
We had a guy a couple of weeks ago that just destroyed Adrian in one post and me in another post and talked about how El Paso is settling for mediocrity by putting hacks like us on the radio.
What?
Oh, yeah. We read it on air.
Burner.
Yeah.
Oh,
but as
man.
Adrian said, he called that person out and said, put your real name and face on there instead of some fake account, or not fake account, but using a handle that doesn't identify anybody with you. So he went right at that person and said, show yourself, and the person never did.
Look, one thing I'll say about you, Steve, and you, Adrian, as well, journalistic integrity is a word or phrase I would say. I love you guys for what you guys do because you guys are on it. You guys are this radio thing is not easy. It is an art. It is an art, and you guys are like two peas in a pod. You guys are peanut butter and jelly. You guys got it so good.
I don't have patience like I used to, though. Now that I'm getting older, I'm getting more impatient.
You getting cranky?
I am. I don't want to put up with a bunch of crap anymore. I get enough of that when I get home with trying to deal with everything with a 7th grader now who's into a lot of different things and tells me about all his drip that he has and how he's got to have this necklace and this chain so he can have the right. Listen, I got enough of that at home. So when I get on the radio now, I don't have the. I used to be so patient and nice and courteous, and now I feel like I don't know. I don't have the same. It's a little different for me after all these years.
I think I do it backwards. I'm nice in person, very nice. But if there's turntables in front of me, I am not very nice. I am very, very I'm very focused.
You are. I've seen you laser focused.
Yeah, I get.
You're even laser focused at parties.
Yeah, I kind of because you have to think I'm dealing with everybody. I'm not just dealing with the one person that's hired me.
Yeah.
I also got to make sure that everybody else is having a good time as well. So
when you do these UTEP games, do you already have a playlist in written down that you're, or do you just wing it and don't go off a script?
For the most part, it's wung. Is that a word? Wung?
It's wung?
That's not a word.
You can wing it. I've wung it. I like that.
No, I just kind of freestyle it, and then there are certain things that I know are sports oriented, and I'm like, hey, these go into
a sports special playlist.
A folder. Yeah, I'll just go into there when I need those chants or I need the crowd to say something. That's that.
Now here's my question. Scotty Walden is a huge wrestling fan.
I did not know that.
Oh, really? Well, he loves professional wrestling. He loves the WWE. Will you create a WWE folder and during games throw some, especially maybe the ones he likes the most, and wrestling themes down there to really get him fired up and get the team fired up?
What's crazy about that is I was already doing that anyway. And what's cool is that, last year when I was working with you guys, I found a WWE theme song CD here, and I loaded it to my laptop.
Oh, really?
So I have a whole bunch of stuff now.
Nice.
Yeah, so absolutely I'm going to do that.
All right, that works for me. 31 past the hour. More with Jason as we continue. But first, let's go to Adrian in this bottom of the hour Sports Center update. Sebastian will handle Sports Center at the bottom of the hour. Excited about that. Jason with us as well. Jason Craig, he DJs events, concerts. He's been all over the country. He's performed all over the world. Now he's going to be handling all the UTEP games this year, and questions coming in on Twitter and X. This one came in from El Paso Visuals Deportivos. One other thing that I miss from the Mike Price era, the players going over to the band to sing the official school song, Win or Lose. I am not sure if Sean Kugler did it, but Dana Dimmel did not. Can Jason give any insight on that regarding the new regime?
That would be cool. It would be cool for them to do that. It would take some time because everybody has to get off the field and stuff like that. And, Coach Walden, he's not – the time thing, he's like a clicking talk. Like everything – or did I say that right?
Yes.
Clicking clock.
You just said
ticking clock. There you go. Ticking time bomb. What are we talking about here?
He just is always on the go. He's always on the go, and everything is on time. So if he has to make them do that, it's up to him. It's up to Coach. So
you should just keep inventing words. Why not? Create your own language and just invent words, and we'll know what you're talking about. He won it. Yeah, I agree with you. He won it. It's good. This is also from El Paso Visuals. True story. Jason Craig is a straight-up sweet and nice dude in person. He is a good gent. Thanks for the shot.
Cheers.
Thanks for the shot.
Salute.
Oh, he took care of you. You took care of him. Very nice. All right, that's good. Also, Snappy Trades. That's Bull. Y'all do a great job. Gives us out-of-towners keeps us out-of-towners informed. Keep up the great work, guys. You're welcome, Snappy. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Enrique Ortiz with Coach Walden being a WWE fan. Interesting. As am I. Can we officially call him Scotty Too Hottie Walden because he's too cool?
I'm totally in for that. I was trying to think of some cool names to call him.
Scotty Too Hottie?
Scotty Too Hottie is probably top of the list.
Because he was probably a kid when Scotty Too Hottie was first really kind of making a splash in the WWE early to mid-2000s.
Yeah, absolutely. He's younger than me.
Yeah,
so, yeah, he's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might know. He might know who Scotty Too Hottie
I think
is.
he remembers. Well, Scotty Too Hottie also had that Rikishi thing where they were doing that together. So, yes, I feel like they definitely that probably would work. But you need to get with Walden before next Saturday and come up with a good wrestling playlist that he likes that you can use to fire up everybody.
We'll see. We'll see how that works because it's hard to get in touch with him.
Oh, I know it is. Yes, we all know. Maybe you need to show up on one of these Monday press conferences, and that's probably the best way to catch him.
Oh, that's probably what I'm going to have to do then.
Yeah.
Post practice, maybe ask him also who's the backup or who's the starting quarterback.
I think I'm going to go out
Don't
there.
do that. You're never going to get an answer.
Just go out there with my van and just crank up wrestling theme songs and see his reaction.
I like that idea. That'll probably work. In fact, you know what you need to do is one day during practice have access to the sound system and just fire up a bunch of wrestling songs while he's not aware of it. Next thing you know, he'll go nuts.
Yeah, that would be cool to see.
He did an Instagram promo for FitFam last Friday, and he looked like he was in like he was cutting a wrestling
Yeah,
promo.
he would look like he was cutting a promo.
Yeah,
he
his
really
eyes
was.
were all wide, and he wasn't blinking. Like he looked like he was in wrestling mode.
Yeah, I think I'm inviting him to our WrestleMania trip next year. We're going to Vegas.
That sounds great.
This trip gets bigger and bigger, and I'm wondering, who's going on this? I put this together when I got the WWE to grant us an opportunity, and now I'm gonna have like an entourage of 24 people with us at this trip.
Wait, you're going?
I'm broadcasting live.
No, you didn't tell me that.
Oh, so you're just going to WrestleMania?
I was just going because it's in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you also heard about this, and now you're jumping on the 600 bandwagon like everybody else is right now.
I am now.
You might need a DJ.
Yeah, we know. We need our own DJ on Radio Row.
Oh, that's awesome.
That would be good.
On the bus with 915 Tours. Let's make it happen.
I like that.
Why not? Why not? All right, so you got a lot going on, a lot happening. What's the easiest way for fans to keep up with you?
You can get me on Instagram at JasonCraig ___ and Threads. I don't do the X thing anymore because it's wild over there. You know, I look at it on my MacBook. I don't have it on my phone. It's just too much. It's way too much drama. Threads, very calm. A couple of things, people give some think pieces, and you respond to them, and it's very, it's nice over there.
Yeah,
it's like a cabin in the woods.
That sounds like fun. I like that.
You should come to Threads. You can really talk sports in Threads. You'll find more people that are really interested in El Paso sports and stuff like that.
At Threads.
On Threads.
Oh, on Threads. Okay.
X, it's all hate. It's like going to your ex.
So X is like your ex. Threads is the form of choice.
The warm
fuzzies.
It's a warm fuzzy thread.
Yeah.
You're not doing TikTok anymore?
TikTok's too hard. I'm not young,
It's too
man.
hard.
I'm not young.
Oh, for crying out loud, stop it. You hang out with all the youngins.
I know, and I think they're weird.
Keeps you young.
I think they're weird. There's a lot of things that they do, and I don't have time to do it. I'll do it on Instagram just because I'm already there, trying to build this following on TikTok, and there's so many people over there. I'm just like, I'll just stay over here with the old. It's like when Instagram came out and all the oldies were on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram is where the oldies hang out.
Are you going on tour anytime soon? Any shows you're going to be? Any upcoming shows that you're aware of?
Not that I'm officially a part of, but things I'm like.
Unofficially, there are things in the works.
Yeah, there are things in the works. There's that Pitbull concert that's going around the nation right now. They just started like a couple of days ago with T-Pain. So that's it's like the Party After Dark tour. Mm-hmm. So that's going on, and they got a show in Albuquerque. That's like the last show.
So you could be possibly hooking up for that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you and Pitbull have a long work relationship. I know that.
I haven't met him, and I think this is the time. This will be the one. Oh,
but you've done his shows before.
Yeah, and
you've never met the guy.
I've gotten closer and closer each show I do. I get closer and closer to him.
Have you met T-Pain?
No.
Okay.
No, I have not.
All right.
Which
so
I'd probably meet him. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
That would be pretty cool.
So, all right, Jason, throwing this out at you. You're a baseball fan. If you were a baseball player right now, 2024, it's Monday, August 26th, what would be your walk-up song?
My walk-up song, it would be what's that song? Big Dogs. Big Dogs. That song by that what's his name? Human Race, or you know what I'm saying? That song that's all over like social media is Big Dogs. That's the song I'm walking out to because it's amazing.
That's like, what are you pointing at me for?
It's the most popular song. Like that is the most popular song right now.
That's the song your son wanted.
No.
Yes.
The Big Dogs.
That was with Big Dogs?
That's the song I'm walking out to.
Oh, great. The one that we heard the lyrics and we officially nixed it. So that's the one you're walking to.
Dude, the song is amazing, Steve.
Oh, you know what? You son of a gun. You had to do that. You had to throw that out at the end of the show, did you? The zinger, that was your end. All right. Fair enough. 49ers, how many wins this season?
I don't know, but if I'm 49ers, I don't care.
Are you a Raiders guy?
I'm a Raiders guy.
How many victories from the Raiders?
I know it sounds insane. I'm saying 8.
8 and 9?
I'm going 8.
That's a mediocre season. 8 and 9 is not going to get it done. But you need to say more like 10, 11.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And our
who's your quarterback?
Our schedule is Minshew.
Oof, Minshew magic. How long can that last?
We'll see. It was supposed to be O'Connell. It was supposed to be O'Connell, and then they changed it like last week, so it's going to be Minshew going in.
I know it. All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
And, Devontae Adams is not fond of the Minshew.
No, he's not. Maybe he'll be a Jet before the end of the season. I'm hoping he goes to the Jets before the trade deadline.
I don't think he likes the cold.
He likes one guy, and he's the quarterback of the New York Jets. He'll be fine. Just put him in number 8, and he'll be okay.
We'll see.
See what happens.
He says he's not leaving. He said he's not leaving. And he keeps saying it.
Yeah, it's talk is cheap. By the way, CeeDee Lamb signed with the Cowboys today. $135 million extension over 4 years. $100 of that guaranteed. $35 million signing bonus.
So that went through.
It did.
Oh, interesting.
Second highest paid receiver in the game.
Well deserved.
Dak Prescott will probably not get a new deal. In your opinion, should the Cowboys move on from quarterback?
I think they're halfway through the season. They're definitely going to be talking about that.
Okay. Well, the good news is they can just let him walk after this year if they want to.
Yeah, and I think Trey Lance might be their guy.
Oh,
I think he might
5
be
picks,
their guy.
Dude? 5 picks?
You know, Steve said the same thing. 5 picks.
5 picks.
Look, that's preseason, and that can get fixed. What the Cowboys need in the quarterback room was somebody to take the risk. Somebody to actually go for it. That has not been happening since I don't know when. So Trey Lance looks like he might be the guy. He might be the guy. He might be the future, and that's what you guys need. As far as Cowboy fans, because I know nobody in here.
This just came in from the text truth. Jason, during football games, could you please play more hard-hitting rock music? It gets the crowd super pumped.
Did someone just make a request? No.
Yes. The text truth would like to hear more hard-hitting rock music.
I got some new metal for you guys. I've been stacking up during the summer and the off season, just collecting my berries and putting them in a basket. That's all
There
I've
you
been
go.
doing.
So you have more berries, and that means more music.
Yep.
All right. Good stuff. Hey, listen, it's great to see you. Thanks for seeing us. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that El Paso Visuals called you, instead of a gent, called you a gente. In Spanish, Espanol. Gente.
Good gente.
Good gente.
Isn't that like boss?
No, it's just people.
Good.
He's
You're
good people.
Good people. Good
people.
gente.
I'm gonna put that on a hat.
You need to.
Good people.
Good people. I like that. Great to see you. Thanks for coming in. So come back and see us again during the season, okay?
I will do, Steve.
All
I will
right.
do.
Very nice. He's Jason Craig, folks, as we continue here on Sports Talk. Take a time out, come back, wrap up hour 2 in a moment. 600 ESPN El Paso. Welcome back. Wrapping up hour number 2 of the show. Our thanks again to Jason Craig for stopping by the show. Man, sad news today. We lost another wrestler. Sid Udy, known as Sid Vicious, known as Psycho Sid, somebody who was very popular in wrestling, and again, passed away. I believe he was about 63 or 64, and Adrian, another one of the greats, is gone.
That's too bad, Steve. Jason Craig over here saying he knows Sid Vicious very well. I did not know Sid Vicious, Steve, as far as being a wrestling fan, but this is one right here. You've talked a lot about some of the losses that we've had in the wrestling community, and he just adds to the long list, especially as of late, of those who we lost in the sport.
It's a crazy list when you start to think about it. Like my entire childhood, outside of like Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, they're almost all gone. It's nuts. I mean, Bret Hart's still around, but there's just a handful of wrestlers from the 80s that are still around. Ricky Steamboat, he's still there, but a lot of the greats are all gone. Savage, Piper, Sheik just recently. And then you just go down the list of everybody that's no longer with us. And, it's rough. It's really, really rough. The WWF is, in those days, there's so many guys that made up. Both British Bulldogs are gone. So I mean, you start thinking about it. Andre the Giant, and just Kamala the Ugandan Giant is now gone. A ton of them, an absolute ton of them. The Ultimate Warrior. It's just it's rough. It's really rough. Anyway, all right, wrapping up hour number 2 here on the show. We got one more to go. In fact, looking forward to our 6 o'clock hour. We're going to go a little deeper into the UTEP quarterback situation, what was said today during UTEP and the press conference with head coach Scotty Walden. We'll do all that coming back as we continue 600 ESPN El Paso.
Here's Steve Kaplowitz and Adrian Broadus.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Final hour is underway. We also have Sebastian Perez Nevado, Alberto Urueta. Are we going to give Sebastian a nickname during his internship, or are we just going to keep him as, we could call him SPN.
Ooh.
Like ESPN, except there's no E. It's just SPN.
I think that might hit, Steve.
SPN?
SPN?
It's either that or Seabass. I mean, what do you think? Should we stay with SPN? What do you think? Because that kind of covers his whole name, and it's just instead of ESPN, it's SPN. What do you think, Alberto? What do you like?
I don't know. It has like a really weird ring to it.
SPN does?
SPN?
Oh,
SPN?
I'm not calling him an SPN. I'm just saying SPN. So, all right. Sebastian, any thoughts and preferences on either Seabass or SPN or anything else?
Well, I'll say this. The nickname Seabass, I like to reserve it for my 4th grade teacher, Miss Michelle. I don't know if she's listening. I know that she's retired, but all school years she used to call me Seabass. So my last year of high school, SPN really caught on. In fact, it caught on so much that while I was working at a quick service restaurant this summer, that was on my name tag. So people were like, "Is your name Spin?" No, my name isn't Spin, but it made for a nice conversation.
Oh, that sounds good. So you worked at a restaurant this summer?
I did. It was fun for sure. And we were talking about spam earlier, and I was just brainstorming in my mind, if only you would see the things that happen in said restaurants. I won't reveal what for a numerous amount of reasons, but let's just say the more you don't know, the better.
Let me ask you this. Serious question. Without revealing the restaurant that you worked at, how many food items on the menu will you continue to eat from there after working there for the summer?
Well, let's say after a week or so, like I just had
Yes.
breakfast there recently, so I'll continue to eat all of it easily, and that's when preparing some of the specialty items as well. One of the things, though, that I'd stray away from personally are the treats. And I won't disclose why, but definitely if you're thinking about bakery items, maybe be careful from where you buy them.
Interesting.
Wow. When I send you where this is, Steve, you're going to be bummed because I love getting their treats.
Really?
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
I'm bummed.
Oh.
I know, right?
Fascinating.
Right.
Well, to be honest, I didn't get
Really?
treats from there. So I'm okay in that regard.
You would never get a cookie? You're a cookie guy like me.
I got a ridiculous sweet tooth. It's nuts. But at this place, their regular menu items were so filling that I never had room for anything else. So I pretty much never did. That was it.
Wow. Okay. Said restaurant.
Yeah. Fascinating. Fascinating. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Domingo's going to lead off our final hour on UTEP Game Week. Miners in Nebraska coming up this Saturday. 505-6009, our telephone number. Domingo, what's going on, man?
Hi, Cabby. How's everybody doing?
We're all well. Domingo, how are you?
Well, since you already said the news about Cycle 6 passing, there was another passing today this morning, and that would be legendary English manager Seven Goran Eriksson losing his battle to cancer this morning. And he was big, really big in the world of soccer.
Spent all his time in England?
Yeah, well, he did manage Mexico for a short time, bud. But you already know Mexico fired him because of poor results. But he was able to go to one more World Cup to coach Cote d'Ivoire.
Seems like Mexico fires everybody for poor results these days, right?
Yep.
Has there ever been a coach that Mexico has not fired and they left them?
I don't know, but at least Seven Goran Eriksson did manage England in a good way.
Okay.
Even though he never coached at Wembley, but at least he led England all the way before his resignation after the World Cup in Germany. And he was a good man. He was really good.
Hey, you ready for the start of UTEP athletics season? You ready to go?
Oh, yes, I'm ready. And at least I'm ready that America came back in Liga MX plays, even though they lost against Puebla. I'm happy for that. And I'll let you know what's going to happen in the World Cup qualifiers in CONCACAF in Asia. And don't forget Cowboy football season.
What's going to be more disappointing, in your opinion? Okay? America not winning it all in Liga MX, or the Cowboys having another early exit in the NFL postseason?
The Cowboys, they need to win a playoff game, please. I do not want to see that embarrassment from Green Bay last season.
Yep.
And we need to win all of them. We need to win all of them. And that includes our main rivals, the Steelers, the Giants, the Eagles, the Commanders, and the team that doesn't exist in El Paso, the Texans. They never exist in El Paso, never have and never will. This is Cowboy territory from El Paso to Cruces and Juarez, always and will be. And the Steelers can play second fiddle.
All right. Appreciate the call. Thank you, Domingo. Domingo getting in, throwing shade at a lot of teams right there. Throwing a lot of shade. By the way, Orly called in earlier and tried to light a fire under Cowboys fans, which led to this great response from Michael Martinez. When was the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl? Wasn't it before the Cowboys' last Super Bowl win? The answer is yes. 1995 was the last time the 49ers have won a Super Bowl. So technically their drought is longer than the Cowboys. And even though the Niners have played in but lost Super Bowls, and that's another question, okay? The Cowboys have not been to a Super Bowl since, I think, 96. So we know how long their drought is. the 49ers just lost this past Super Bowl. They lost, years earlier to the Ravens. So the question is, if you go to the Super Bowl and lose, does that make you more relevant even if your Super Bowl win drought is longer than the Cowboys?
Oh, that's a great one. I think this is really interesting because it's a question of who would you rather be? Would you rather be the Cowboys, who aren't even sniffing the NFC Championship game? Forget the Super Bowl. They're not even getting to the title game out of the NFC over the last 27-plus years. Or would you rather be the 49ers, who've gotten to the point, they have made it to the Super Bowl several different times, just like you mentioned, Steve. They played in 8 Super Bowls over time. However, they haven't won in recent memory since 1995. This is a really good one right here. Who would you rather be? I'd rather be, in this scenario, I'd rather be the Cowboys. I couldn't stand losing all those heartbreakers like the 49er fans have over these past couple years.
So as far as you're concerned, better to be a team
What's
that...
up? Is this George?
Hey, George, how are you? Good to hear.
That's awesome.
Hey, that was awesome. Hey, you know what? That was great for one reason. Adrian gave us a glimpse into what it's like when people call in to the show. Now you know when people call in why some of our callers love to get in as often as they do. Because nobody treats them better when they call in than Adrian Broadus. And you could tell by that call right there from George.
Shout out George. I'm always happy to hear from anybody. So
I know.
From the first one, I'm always like, Sports Talk, tell me your name, basically. So there you go, Steve.
You did good. You did good. All right, let's welcome him in. George, how are you, man? Thanks for the call.
I'm doing great, Steve.
Good.
Hey,
good to hear.
I'm hopeful that Roger's going to do something with your Jets. They look pretty strong. They look pretty good. Hopefully they'll get out of the cellar for a while and get to be a little relevant. Going back to what you guys were talking about, you can go to the dance, and if you're not dancing at the end, I'm sorry, it don't matter. It don't make you that relevant anyway, because whether you go or not, it's more disappointing to be there and not win than to go. Then not go and then just accept it and move on. That's my opinion.
So you're telling me that it's worse to be a 49er fan and have Super Bowl losses in recent years than the Dallas Cowboys that haven't even sniffed a championship game, let alone a Super Bowl, in almost 30?
Well, I mean, it's still the same. Whether it doesn't matter whether you go or not.
Yeah.
If you don't win, it's just that more disappointing than to not go at all. I mean, if you're not going to win the whole chip, then it really doesn't matter if you go to the championship. They don't remember the second fiddle. They remember the champion.
True. But
We remember the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Not who. If you think about who played 30 years ago against the 49ers, or who they lost or who they won against, you won't remember. But you'll remember who the Cowboys, that the Cowboys won 30-some-odd years ago.
So it's more disappointing to just lose, period. Whether you lose in the first round of the playoffs, the Super Bowl, you don't even make the playoffs. If you're not winning the whole thing, it doesn't matter. A loss is a loss no matter what.
Right. I mean, because you're not crowned the champion. You're not the champion.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how big of a trip you took. Yeah, is it great for your organization? Is it great for your fan base? Yeah. You're at that pivotal that you're almost going to make it. But if you don't make it, it doesn't matter. Because the whole point of getting to the Super Bowl is winning it.
Yes.
It's not being second place. It's you want to go out there and win and showcase your players. And at this point, the Niners had every opportunity to win, and they just fell apart. Or the star players, key players, just didn't come up and play. Plain and simple.
Are you a Cowboys fan?
Well, I've always been a Cowboys fan. I don't like the Niners. I don't like the Chiefs. I've never rooted for any other team. Regardless, when my Cowboys are out, my season basically is over. But do I like football? I love it.
Yeah.
I love watching the aspect of it, and just the whole spectacle is wonderful. Do I want the Cowboys to be relevant? Yes, but in realistic form, when you think about it, with Jerry Jones, we're never going to win a Super Bowl again. He's not about winning championships. He's about, like I've said this over again, people can say whatever they want. Jerry Jones is not about winning Super Bowls anymore. His thing is he wants to leave a good franchise. He wants to get his payday. That's what he wants.
Okay.
He's another George Steinbrenner.
I got you. I appreciate you, George. Thanks for the call. Always good to hear from you on the show. This is going to be fun, too. Before we go to break, let me get Sean McConnell's take on this whole situation. 49ers and Cowboys, and does it matter whether you go to a Super Bowl and lose or you don't even make the playoffs? A loss is a loss no matter what. Let me get Sean as a former college football starting quarterback who has an interest in this program over the last year plus. All right, Sean, give us your take from the 49ers standpoint about, are they more relevant than the Cowboys despite the fact that their last Super Bowl win came before Dallas?
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking the call. I had to call in.
Yes.
I have to be with the 49ers. I have to, with that side of it. You have to be able to play. You have to be in it. We're not talking about teams that have continually don't make it there. We don't talk about them. They're not relevant. They are those teams that get pushed to the back. Everybody's talking about the 49ers. What can they do? We had 49er, and I'm not a 49er fan, but last year, it was okay. That injury cost us, but it was one play, or it was this or that. When you're there, you have the opportunity to win it. It could be a play, it could be a series, it could be something. But if you're 6-10, or now with 17 games, 6-11, it doesn't matter what you do. You're not even sniffing it.
I'm with you. And that's one of the reasons why, the Cowboys could say all they want, that their last Super Bowl win came before the 49ers, but the 49ers have been more relevant as a postseason team, despite the fact they haven't won the big one, because you look at what they've accomplished over the last 5-10 years.
100%. Those expectations bleed into the program. They expect to be in the Super Bowl now all the time. They expect to be in the playoffs. If they're not there, it's a disappointment, whereas everybody else is fighting over contracts, or who's going to be there, or what are we going to do with Dak, or what are we going to do with CD, and when are we going to do this, and all that kind of stuff. And if you take it to the collegiate level, if you're relevant and you're I would rather be playing in bowl games and losing them than not playing in them at all, which means you had winning records, or at least 500. So that part of it can be brought in as well, where if you're playing in a bowl game but you're not winning them, at least you're there. You made it, and your teams are worthy of doing that. Whereas if you're not being worthy is a rough place to be.
Yeah, it is. All right, well said. All right. Good stuff, Sean. Thanks for calling in. Good to hear from you today.
Absolutely, guys. Take care.
18 past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk. One other thing, by the way. San Francisco took Colin Kaepernick, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Brock Purdy to the promised land. Didn't win, but look at those three quarterbacks, and look at what they've been able to do. Dallas has had Tony Romo, and they've had Dak Prescott, and they haven't even sniffed a championship game for the NFC with those two quarterbacks.
Wow. I'd rank it, if I had to rank it, all those quarterbacks right there, I'd go just by pure, what they've done to their team. I'd go number 1, Dak, number 2, Kaepernick, number 3, Purdy, number 4, Romo, and number 5, Garoppolo. That's a bad list. Maybe I should switch that up a little.
You might need to think about that.
People are going to get mad at that.
Yeah, think about that during the break before the lines light up and people are wondering what happened to you and when is Adrian coming back?
I just can't stand the 49ers, man.
No, I know.
But that pick right there is very anti-Romo, so I should probably put Romo like top 3.
There you go. Hey, 19 past now. We'll go to Charlie for traffic. Come back with more in a moment. 600 ESPN El Paso. Is our feature dining deal. 1660 North Zaragoza Road. You know, here's the coolest thing about Oasis Lanes. They have 40 bowling lanes. But you know what else they have? Virtual reality. They have sports simulators. They have an indoor and outdoor amusement park, rides for adults and children. Not to mention, they also have just an incredible arcade, if you've never been. It's such a cool place. As for their specialty kitchen, everything from brick oven pizza to loaded fries to handheld shareables and skillet desserts. And they've also got a full-service bar, brick and tap, to give you craft beer, spirits, and your favorite cocktail. This week, 10 a.m. on Friday, $50 to Oasis Lanes, which you can use for food, non-alcoholic beverages, and the game cards, which gives you access to the VR, the sports simulators, all the arcade games. That'll be just for $25. Now, it does not include bowling, and it does not include the alcohol. But I'll tell you right now, when I was at Oasis, so many things to check out. You definitely want to take advantage of that, and it's all up at 600ESPNElPaso.com. So you can do that Friday, 10 a.m., with dining deals. Excited about SPN, who's going to be delivering SportsCenter for us here at the bottom of the hour. So that's coming up as we continue with more of the program. So looking forward to that. A lot more to talk about. But before we get to that, let's talk more about what happened today at 1 o'clock when Scotty Walden met the media. They announced their 6 captains. They also announced their, what is it? It's the Unity Council that they have.
Correct. Unity Council. That was
Yes.
one of them, Steve?
Yes. And he talked a little bit about what to expect from Nebraska and his team, but he went into detail about the quarterback decision.
Real quick, Steve, he also announced the Trench Warrior Award.
Oh, that's right. That's the player that can wear the single digit.
Correct. Sione Tungaua. He said a different pronunciation today, but Tungaua is going to wear number 3. He was wearing number 99 before, Steve.
Okay. By the way, I'm impressed. You read the release, and that's good because on the release it does say Sione Tungaua. Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Tungaua.
That's right.
I'm reading it right off the pronunciation guide. How'd he call him? What did he call him?
Uia?
All right.
Tonga
Well,
Uia?
you know what? You know what I find? That most coaches, like it happened with Dimmel, it happened with Kugler, they have a hard time with pronunciations, especially when you're dealing with athletes that a lot of us on first glance just wouldn't get to know. Usually they give them a nickname, and they just leave it with the nickname.
Praise Amahuli?
That's right. The whole first season they called him Amahuli.
Yeah, and I don't think even the last couple ones, we had to do a couple corrections.
You discovered it was a Mehule by talking to him.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to ask them how you pronounce your name. Sometimes they'll even change the name, like Lance Russell. He changed his name.
Man.
So sometimes they just flip it around like that.
Meanwhile, as far as the quarterback decision goes, they're going to probably, according to Scotty, we're not going to find out till Wednesday or Thursday this week. He said his team doesn't even know yet who the starting quarterback is going to be, and they're splitting their reps evenly. Walden said he wants to see how they handle game week, which, by the way, we already know how one quarterback handles game week because he had it for 6 games last year. One thing I'll say about Cade, game week was not that big a deal for him when he became the first team quarterback because he pretty much assumed that role the entire second half of the season. I also found interesting when they said, including spring and fall ball, they've attempted between 3,500 and 4,000 throws against the defense. Saw that number each. And then how about this? When Walden said that both quarterbacks could play up to the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah, the evaluation is going to drag into the season. That's what he alludes to today. Also, I found it very interesting, the 2 different archetypes that he really detailed and outlined between Cade and Skyler. On one side, Skyler was, as Scotty Walden was putting it, finishing the plays as Scotty Walden was calling them, just because he's really knowledgeable of the offense. of the play calls and all that kind of stuff. For Cade, Scotty Weldon went into this discussion about how Cade, it took him a little while in the spring to really acclimate and adjust to the offense, but he's a fast learner and he's come a really long way. And he really praised Cade. He included Cade when he was talking about that Unity Council, which, by the way, Steve, that's voted upon by the position groups on the team.
And one other thing, so also to mention, okay, this offense they're running now is about as polar opposite to what UTEP had been running over the last 6 seasons. I mean, if you want to talk about night and day, this offense to Dana Dimmel is just about a 180-degree turn.
And for Cade, it reminds him something of when he played at high school. He said that to us before, up-tempo offense in high school.
Yep.
Now, for somebody like Skylar, he's been in this system, as Coach Walden put it, for 3 seasons now. He's a redshirt sophomore here coming into this mix with UTEP, albeit he hadn't really attempted many relevant passes in even the FCS ranks with Austin Peay. So going to be interesting to see how both these quarterbacks handled Nebraska. It seems like both these guys are going to be playing Saturday.
I feel like that's the case, too. And here's the one thing I will say, okay? Cade, when you play 6 games of Division I FBS football, albeit, his probably biggest game last season, I'm trying to think of like the most hostile stadium he played in last year, if there even was one.
Middle?
Maybe.
That's probably unfair because middle wasn't that packed.
No. I mean, both quarterbacks are never going to experience anything like this Saturday until they play Tennessee, obviously. But you go up against 85,000 fans in Lincoln, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. But Cade's done it 6 times. Skylar hasn't. And you can know the offense until you've got everything memorized, but until you get out there and you do it for the first time against a team like that, it's going to be a culture shock. Let's be honest.
I think we will make a big deal as a media collective of who ends up being QB1 for the start of Nebraska. But as we heard today, it might not mean anything because that QB1 against Nebraska might actually be a different QB1 against Southern Utah when they're playing their home opener Saturday, September 7th.
Well, I would assume whoever plays the best against Nebraska would probably be the starter against Southern Utah, wouldn't you?
I would think that's the case. They ride the hot hand.
Yep.
As Coach Walden also said and explained, even if one guy is out there and starts to score points, maybe they don't go to that second quarterback. Maybe they just throw the hot hand out there and just keep him out there.
As we hit the bottom of the hour, let's send it over to SPN, standing by with this SportsCenter update.
Thank you so much, Steve. Let's get straight into the headlines. First, Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua returns to practice after a knee injury that occurred in early August. Today was his first time practicing in individual drills since a joint practice session with the Los Angeles Chargers on August 5th. Head coach Sean McVay says he's on track to be ready for Week 1. And making adjustments to their rosters, the Kansas City Chiefs bring back wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. He caught 78 passes for 933 yards and 3 touchdowns in 16 games with Kansas City in 2022, ultimately with 10 grabs and 89 yards in the postseason, helping the Kansas City Chiefs become Super Bowl 57 champions. Staying with the NFL, Patriots coach says that Drake May has outplayed Jacoby. Now, no official decision has been made on the Patriots starting quarterback role. He's been make sure to say that it's a competition. He has experience with the Patriots before, so we're still waiting on that development. The Broncos have been making headlines today, but not for the right reason in the heart of the players. The Broncos are currently trying to trade running back Samaje Perine, and also on the verge of getting cut, wide receiver Tim Patrick. You might recognize his name because of his antics getting a taunting call in a preseason game after catching his first catch in 2 years. The Broncos have a complex wide receiver room, and frankly, Tim Patrick doesn't fit in it in the eyes of Sean McVay. Harsh decisions to be made inside of the National Football League as we get closer to cutting down to 53-man rosters. I'm Sebastian Perez Navarro. That's your SportsCenter update.
All right, good job, Sebastian. Thank you very much. Adrian, that is the most energetic sports center I've ever heard. I mean, he was ready to go when we got him on the radio. It was perfect.
He was chomping at the bit. He was very excited. That was everybody has their first Sports Center update, and yeah, man, very excited. Good job. I like it.
Yep, I'm with you. I think that's the case. Let's see here. This is from El Paso Visuals. He's been very active today on Twitter and X. Just my opinion, but I've seen enough Bachelor and AHT shows. That's America's Got Talent. It's supposed to be AGT, but it's okay. And they over-compliment you right before they let you go and or not given a rose. I'm reading between the lines, but I think Cade won't be the starter because of all the flowers, excuse the pun, Cade got today in the presser. Now, I'm going to throw something else at you, okay? Let me say this. And I'm just speculating. This is all speculation and radio BS. And I am the radio BS master. Nobody has flung more BS at you over the last 27 years than yours truly. Okay, so think about this too. Okay, along those same lines. Nebraska's going to throw their number one defense to start this game. And if the game gets out of hand, then maybe they'll bring in their 2s and 3s. But for the start, it's your number 1s. Do you want to start against the number 1s, a redshirt sophomore who has never played a snap of Division I FBS college football in his life? Or do you want to start a more seasoned veteran quarterback who has seen it, played it, and knows what it's going to be like to be under center when that game kicks off at 1:30 on Saturday? My answer is B, because if you're going to go ahead and give Skyler the nod and make him go up against Nebraska's number 1s, the chances of him coming in and succeeding right out of the gate are not nearly as strong if he plays later on in the game, assuming that, let's say, the Miners fall behind, the defense can't stop Nebraska, they don't move the ball as well offensively, and then they give him a look more in the second half when Nebraska has their 2s and 3s out there, giving Skyler a better opportunity to try to succeed than he would out of the gate. Now, the flip side to that argument is, what if Cade starts, goes out against the 1s, and starts throwing touchdowns left and right, and UTEP builds an early lead, and all of a sudden, you don't even see Skyler in this game because Cade gets the hot hand early. That's the flip side of this argument. So I see different ways of looking at how this quarterback decision is going to go. And you want to know something? I think, in truth, Scotty Walden sees the same things. And he's thinking all these different scenarios out too. So, Cade's got a better chance to succeed out of the gate than Skyler does, especially against the 1s. And if he does, all of a sudden UTEP gets energized and you found your QB1 right out of the gate. Also, if Skyler starts and struggles, now his confidence is shot a little bit more. And then if Cade comes in relief and plays really well against the 2s and 3s, now fans are going to be clamoring to see more Cade on this offense. So those are all the different scenarios that could come into play.
And we could see a lot of these different roadmaps, honestly. I go back to what head coach Scotty Walden was looking for when naming a starting quarterback. He's looking for a couple things. He's looking for the guy who's going to score points for the offense, the guy who's going to lead touchdown drives, but he also talked about the guy who's going to win the locker room. And, when we're out there post-practice getting to interview all the players and asking them their opinion on this, they're very hushed on, who they pick between both Skyler and Cade. They're not going to tell you that, of course, Steve, but they will tell you when you ask them things like, well, who's the leader in the room? Who's the vocal veteran in the room? They are always saying Cade. They're throwing Cade out there with guys like Maurice Westmoreland and stuff like that. And you know what? If those are the two things that Walden is looking for to be the deciding factor, the touchdown drives, which we're hearing it's neck and neck right now between Cade and Skyler, and winning the locker room, his contemporaries are telling everybody, or his players on the team are telling everybody that it's Cade right there.
If that is truly what's in play. Look, we know Cade's personality. All of you know Cade's personality. You've been listening to him on this radio station for the last year, and you saw him play 6 games last season at UTEP when he was filling in for all the injuries. You know what you're getting with Cade, although I'll say this. I'm really excited to see what Cade McConnell can do with a body that has changed over the summer as he's worked hard to become more mobile and fit this scheme and run an offense that is completely different than what he had last year. I'm interested in that. Just like I'm really interested in seeing what Skylar Locklear can do, because I have no clue what he can do, because other than the spring game, we've never seen him under center. And you don't really watch him during practice because we can't watch practice. So there's so many unknowns going into this weekend. It's fascinating to me. Although you would think that if it's game week and you're preparing for Nebraska, you would want to lean on one guy, not two, just so that the team knows who they're going to go to battle with on Saturday.
I thought Brett Bloomquist's question was real valid. Do the players know? Do the other players on the team know already? And is this just hush in terms of the public? That was a great question, and it is hushed among the players. So according to the players right now, and to the players' knowledge, they still don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback right now. You've heard it time and time. It sounds cliche at this point, but they feel comfortable with any quarterback they roll with, and that's what they're maintaining, the narrative that they're maintaining on their side. But Walton did say that he thinks one guy is pulling away a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see who that guy is and if they're able to put some separation also in the game, like you mentioned. What if one of them takes the starting job, runs with it, and never looks back?
Could be the case. All right, 20 in front of 7. As Sports Talk continues, we'll come back. More in a moment. Stay with us. Final countdown is next, right here. 600 ESPN El Paso.